to assimilate. She wanted me to assimilate, and I got the message very clearly throughout my education that the more I assimilated, the better off I would be. A part of that was being poor too, I should say. I'm sure that I think Appalachian people get hit in the face a lot because of their accents, but if you're poor on top of that, then you get like a double whammy, you know.
I do have, you know, some kind of an accent at least. People can't always pin it down. Whenever I first got to Berea, there were some people who had asked if I was from Texas, of all places, and though I wouldn't mind to say that I was from Texas, it's about as far from the truth as you can get, because I'm from eastern Kentucky, and not exactly, you know, extremely similar places.
So, I mean, growing up, everyone pretty much talks the same, and I'd say most people would say I don't have much of an accent, but I know my grammar is absolutely awful, and people definitely point that out.
It's usually a very good experience. I get along with people just fine, and they understand me completely. Where when I move around with seeing family and stuff, like who's like say live in Ohio, they kind of like, can you say that again, please? I didn't understand you.
Yeah, I would most definitely say how I speak for like how my Appalachian talk is. Like I would say it's way different than anywhere else. Like it really stands out when other people from other places really hear it, and even people like from here in Berea, like even native Bereans like hear, like I say like words and things that they've never heard of, and it's just like a whole different kind of thing.
You probably wouldn't know it right now, but actually people say I have an accent, but I don't think that I have much of an accent when I'm in Berea. But like if I get on the phone with people, I really do have an accent. I think that like since coming to college, it's changed, but I definitely do have like a country, like holler kind of accent, because there's a farm Appalachia accent, and then there's a holler Appalachia accent in Kentucky that I've noticed that I've picked up on, but yeah.
Well, I always grew up thinking that my mom and my grandma had a really thick country accent, and I always was like, well, I don't have an accent. I didn't really inherit the accent. But there are a couple words that I say that will like slip out. Like sometimes I'll say oil or oil instead of oil, or like window instead of window. Sometimes that'll slip out. And especially when I was in Milwaukee, I realized that my country accent was coming out a lot more because people found it really interesting. And even if I wasn't really noticing it, people would automatically ask me, are you from the South? And I would say, yeah, I'm from Kentucky, because they thought that I had a much more like country drawl than I really noticed. Like I would say y'all a lot and that kind of thing.
All in the same room.
Different age kids, yeah.
All different age kids. And
they think it's fun.
We had a big stove in the schoolhouse. It burned wood for heat. We didn't have no electricity or no running water. That's where you lived in the country.
Stuff like that, you know, and probably talking from somebody from the north, they probably wouldn't understand me very well. But I try to hide my accent a little bit, because if I talk with my accent, it gets a little hard to understand. So I think really only people from the South can truly understand us.
What about your experiences in Milwaukee?
Oh, dude. Like, well, dude, you need to chill. It's just everybody there is not very friendly. You know, Southern hospitality is a real thing. And going up there and talking to people from the North, you can definitely tell that they don't have that Southern hospitality.
Yeah, definitely as a child, definitely we were. Our classes were, I also have some kind of disability. It's like dyslexia. It's probably a cousin of dyslexia, where it's really hard to diagnose. And I didn't figure it out until I was actually doing my doctoral work. But I didn't learn to read until I was in the 3rd grade. And but there was no big thing about it because all hillbilly kids were supposed to not be able to read. And anyway,
I can say that I'm pretty fortunate. I had mentioned before that people have told me from time to time that I'm well spoken, and it seems to be a trait that's carried on my mother's side of the family. All of her relatives, you know, people always said that about her relatives going back, you know, as far as anyone cares to remember. My grandmother on my mom's side, the one from Elliott County, and all of her siblings, they were all very well spoken. They were very literate people in the sense of they loved literature. Many of them were writers. My grandmother's brother actually won a Pulitzer Prize in journalism and had attended UK for journalism. So there are people with a very particular set of interests in that regard. And I think that I've escaped some of that discrimination based on accent or dialect, just on account of their contributions to my life and having those influences.
I don't think it has. Like where I come from Laurel County, I knew a lot of people because with the idealistic of a stereotypical hillbilly and the idea that we're all backwards thinking and we don't know what's going on in the world, and it kind of did give an impression on people that a few times people have kind of questioned me about it, where I've had to disprove them on the fact.
Yeah, I really feel like a lot of people hear my voice and assume that I'm just like stupid and that I don't know what I'm talking about, and that I'm just another dumb country guy who doesn't like enjoy anything like intelligent, like so.
At least not back home, because everyone mostly sounds the same. Here, not per se, but in social settings, sometimes I don't feel as smart or as intelligent as most people, or whenever I'm meeting people that are like a higher social status, I feel anxious because I feel like I have to talk proper.
I feel like just a job interview seems like the worst place that I get discriminated against. But then that's also, I think sometimes misogynistic plays a role in that.
I don't think they have. Nobody's ever looked down on you because you're from the mountains, right?
No,
I think they kind of respected people from the mountains because
they do.
They were hard-working people back then. And they still are back there. You know, he tells you all these stories about Gilbert and how they built the cabins back there and stuff. It's not easy living like that.
Like I said, I think a lot of people associate the country dialect with being unintelligent or stupid because of the way that we sound and like I said, the way that we merge our words together. Like when they hear y'all, they're like, "Oh, this guy's country," or when I've been, talking to other people online, like in a Discord group, and they hear that I'm country, they automatically associate me as being unintelligent. So I think that having that country accent automatically puts you lower than everybody else for whatever reason.
As someone told me once, being a disgrace to your race, because as a white person and a young child, I shouldn't sound like that. I shouldn't be like that. My family shouldn't do what my family did. That's a very ugly thing, but it's also a true thing that I was told as a child.